What up? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Modi J. We are locked in. This is episode 4 of Cruel Summer. Now, I was going to drop this last night, but my internet was out, so I didn't get to watch the episode till this morning. It is, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time? And at this point, I'm going to keep saying this every single week until we get some solid evidence. I don't know if we can trust Jeanette or if we can trust Kate. Who do y'all think is lying here? I'm on Jeanette's side. But before we get into today's episode, shout out to the notification gang. If you're new to the channel and want to be a part of this, hit your subscribe button, turn on your notification bell so you get something every time I upload. Now, we have a lot of stuff in this episode. We got to pay very, very close attention because we get introduced to new characters and we get to start seeing, okay, this is what really happened here. Okay, so we're going to get into this and we're going to break it down because no one breaks it down like I break it down. But that's enough of me. Cruel Summer, episode 4. The events that are about to unfold take place on approximately July 15th, 1993, 1994, 1995. And I'm always try to keep it each year for you guys and let you know exactly what scene we're looking at and what's going on. We start the episode off in 93. Now we see Rod. Rod is Kate's stepfather, Joy's husband, and we see his daughter, Ashley. Now they're cleaning out the guns because they're about to go skeet shooting. We do this every single year, people. That's just what us rich folks do. So they're cleaning out the guns and he knows weapon safety and how important it is. And he's also trained his daughter on the importance of it. Now remember, they're in Texas, so this is normal, especially for people with money. Ashley, Rod's daughter, she lives with her mom and she comes back and visit. Now, you can already tell that it's kind of awkward between her and Kate. And the reason for that is because she lives with her mom. Her dad has a new family, took in this young lady, Kate, as his own daughter. And you're spending more time with my father. So for her, she's not really going to talk to Kate. Now, remember, this is 93. So this is early. We fast forward to 94. They're still at the Wallis's house. Now, Kate, she goes into the dining room. She's just looking around. Because if you remember, this is after she's been released. So she's looking around, she sits down at the table, but she starts having flashbacks to when she was actually locked up. And if you can see here, Martin came downstairs, dropped her off some food. It wasn't nothing good. She picks it up and she throws it up the stairs because this is the beginning. She's taking showers down here. She's just now locked up and she's just now getting adjusted to what's going on. After her flashback, Ashley actually walks in and she says, "I've been looking for you. I want to talk to you." And for Kate, she's just thinking about when she was locked up. Her parents were shopping for wallpaper. They changed the wallpaper in the dining room. And Ashley said, "I don't know nothing about that because, Ashley doesn't live there." But for Kate, this is what you guys were doing while I was locked up. You were looking for wallpaper while I was down here starving and getting abused. 1995. At this point, we know about the lawsuit. We know that Jeanette is suing Kate for defamation of character, lying and saying that she saw her down there and didn't report it. Now, this lawyer is good. He's telling Kate that we need to get your story together because if not, Jeanette's lawyer is going to pick you apart. Now, she's good, but she's not as good as me. So what they're going to do is they're going to go over some scenarios and he's going to coach her on what she needs to say so that her story is good and there's no holes within the story. How this lawyer does this, he breaks it down. So he asks Kate, all right, these are the questions they're going to ask. And they want to make sure that you know what you're talking about because they're going to say that you were under distress. You were nervous down there. So you may have not seen what you've seen because you were traumatized. Now, what do you remember? How long were you down there before you seen Jeanette? And she's like, I don't know because I was down there with no clock or nothing. So if you don't know how long you were down there when you seen her, then what else don't you know? And at this point, Kate is like, well, I do know something. Jeanette's lawyers, they're going to try to poke holes in your story. You have to have everything in order so they make sure that you're not lying about anything. In court, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. And if Jeanette and them can prove that she didn't remember this, so how could she remember this? Then they could easily get that dismissed. So what Kate's lawyer is telling them is like, we got to make sure your story is good. And Kate says, "I'm not a liar. You can ask anybody." This is what gives her mom, Joy, and Rod the idea. We need to start getting some reliable people, some people that have money in the community to say that, oh, Kate, she's not a liar. She always tells the truth to help build her case. Back in 94. Now, if you remember, Jamie was with Kate when she checked his phone and seen that he was supposed to meet up at 9 p.m., which he did meet up with Jeanette, and they ended up kissing and Kate seen it. Now today she's asking him, hey, whatever happened that night after the party? And he was like, oh, that was 2 weeks ago. Now we know Jamie, he's on both sides. He messed with Jeanette while she was gone, and as soon as Kate came back, he got back on the bandwagon with Kate. Now he's like, yeah, that was 2 weeks ago. I just hung out with the boys. Now he wants to know why she asked that, because he's guilty. If he didn't do anything, he would have just been, I hung out with the boys, and that would have been it. But Kate, she knows what she saw. She just wanted to see if he's going to tell the truth. Now she's looking at Jamie like I can't trust him. It turns out that Kate is actually meeting with a therapist, and they're recording the conversations that they're having so she can go back and listen to everything that her and the therapist discussed. Because if you don't talk about the traumas that you've had, it's just going to keep building up and building up in you. Now, Kate doesn't know what to talk about. She's saying her parents sent her here so she can get better. And the therapist is like, there's not really anything in particular we should talk about. We're just going to talk. Now, when's the last time you felt like you were safe? And Kate says, I always thought the world was a safe place, but obviously it's not. I haven't had a safe place in so long because, she's been locked up in the basement. So for her, she doesn't know who she can trust at this point. She even mentions her room back at home. It doesn't feel like it's a safe place either. Everything is just staged so neatly. But when you've been locked up in that room, you're seeing everything on a day-to-day basis. So nothing seems, the norm isn't the same for you. So she starts ripping stuff down off the walls because it's like, I need to be free now. When I go in my bedroom, it seems like I'm back in the cage. While Kate was gone, she felt like the world just kept moving and it just forgot all about her. Now she asked the therapist, can you help me with that? And the therapist says, it was not a magic pill I can give you. It's going to take time to work through this. You've been in a lot of trauma and that's going to be on your head. So this is the start. We're going to have several sessions in order to, get you to the point where you can kind of put this behind you. So Kate doesn't hear it like that. And you got to remember, she's 16, 17. So it's like, I need to get, results ASAP, but it doesn't work like that. Back to the house. You remember I was telling you that the lawyer was trying to break it down to make sure that she isn't lying about anything. If she can't recollect this day, then how could she remember this? But he's saying, how do you know that you've seen Jeanette? And she said, well, I heard somebody break in and before I could see them, they had left. But when I went to the window, I looked out and I seen her and we made eye contact. But her lawyer's saying, how did you see out the window? She's like, oh, well, he put bars on it. So he's trying to get these details in order so they can have their story straight and they don't go off script for whatever they're going to say when they're in court. But she says, me and Jeanette, we made eye contact. We seen each other. Exactly what we all thought. We all knew Mallory was someone we probably couldn't trust. Now, Mallory, her and Kate, they started getting close now. And this is 95. Now they're in the room. They're smoking. Of course, they got Mallory's mom's stash. Kate, I don't know, some weird stuff. She's laying in the bathtub, but they high, so it ain't no telling. And they're sitting in there. And Mallory's like, it's a shame you should have to go against Jeanette, her little psycho self. Now, her and Jeanette, they had the falling out. And Kate, she's sitting there and she's not even really listening to it. She's like, yeah, whatever. But you know what? We should go get some dungarees because when you high, those munchies start kicking in and everything else you were doing, you forget all about it. Now, we know these two stepsisters, they aren't seeing eye to eye. Now, Kate, she wants to be able to talk to Ashley, but Ashley, she's like, you took my dad, you and your mom, y'all done moved in here, and I'm over with my mom. My parents are separated, but they're getting ready to go shooting. You remember the beginning of the episode, the opening scene, they were cleaning the weapons, they were going to go. Now, Kate asked her dad, why are we doing all this, and where's mom? Now, we know mom is messing with Scott. Scott is the gardener. So she's like, where's mom at? And of course, here comes Miss Joy. Like I was saying, Kate is trying to open up to Ashley because she's seen her mom kissing on Scott. And she's like, okay, at this point, I'm really by myself. I can't go tell my dad about this. Maybe I can talk to my sister, but they're not sisters. And Ashley's like, nah, I'm good. We don't need to pretend like we're close to each other. None of that. Go back to 95. Now the girls, they high. They go down in the kitchen. Oh, they got what? Cheese puffs, the knockoff Cheetos, but they got the munchies. So they in the kitchen kicking it. I'm talking about high as hell. And then here comes Joy. Like, who put this who put this letter on the door? And it turns out the letter says liar on it. So they're trying to figure out who knows about this case to call her a liar. Interesting, because we know Jeanette isn't going to do it. She's not going to be able to go over here and even interact with her, because if you have a lawsuit against somebody, it's best you stay away from them, because it's going to ruin your lawsuit. Y'all know how we do. We got the cabin for the weekend. We about to go skeet shooting. We about to have a good time. Jamie's here. He got invited. Looks like the whole neighborhood, well, at least the cool people, they gonna be there. So we got the whole neighborhood, and of course Jamie's like, hey, you think your mama let me stay over? Now we already know Jamie be creeping in all the houses. He's in Jeanette's house for the birthday. He's sneaking upstairs. Kate's in the bathtub. So Jamie, he's known. All the parents know Jamie. Now here's something interesting. Now we know Ashley is Ron's daughter, aka Kate's stepsister. She's talking to Derek Turner. Derek Turner is the older brother to who? Jeanette Turner. So for them to have a relationship, and he's like, oh yeah, here you go. They haven't seen each other in a while. Now Joy comes over, and Joy knows Derek. She knows, I mean, they know everybody. They're rich people on the block. But it's just interesting to see that Ashley and Joy, they have a little bond. It's not a good one, but they have a bond. Now the story is starting to come together. Joy's talking to Kate, and she's like, okay, yeah, let's make the best of this. You know what I'm saying? Who do they invite? They invite over Martin, the assistant principal, because hell, he isn't doing nothing in the neighborhood, and everybody's like, hey, it's a new guy. You want to come out this weekend to a cabin with some random people and shoot some shotguns? No, I don't know none of y'all to be around y'all to be shooting some shotguns. But he shows up. So now we're starting to connect the dots here. Oh, so they met each other. And even Joy says, hey, thank you for bringing her home the other night. You know, let's just keep that between us three. We don't want anyone finding out that our daughters are drunk. Now we're starting to see they have a little connection. They look at each other and they kind of like shake their heads. So this is where the relationship is starting to build up. He escorted her home the first night, and now they're going to be out here. I just don't understand it, why these parents are letting a damn principal hang out with kids. Like, he shouldn't have any interaction with the kids unless there's another parent supervising or being the chaperone. He's the assistant principal. He shouldn't be mixing and mingling unless this is a school trip. We start to see how all of the bonds and relationships are built. Now, we know Kate is seeing a therapist. When she shows up to therapy, guess who's in there? Mallory. So this is how these two connect with each other. Mallory's like, oh, hey, yeah, I'm here for therapy. They had the same therapist. Now, they're reintroducing themselves to each other. And Kate's like, oh, I remember you came to my birthday party. And Mallory says, oh, yeah, I did come to your birthday party. You're the only person that had a pony. So they knew each other when they were younger. It's just one person became popular and she went off and became with the unique kids. That's what we're going to put it, the unique kids. They start going over why they're in therapy. Mallory's in therapy because her parents are divorced and she's just dealing with it. But she also tells Kate, like, hey, I know my therapy session isn't as serious as yours. Like, you being kidnapped, that's way more important than what I got. But they start to build a bond, and she asks, why aren't you going to call Jeanette out for all the stuff that she's doing? And Kate's like, well, I'm not going to do that because the lawyers are going to handle this. So these two built a bond, and just like we thought, Mallory was going to turn on Jeanette at one point in this series. Side note, Mallory does tell her, hey, I got to tell you something, but yeah, I really didn't like you. I really disliked you. But after talking to you, I can see why no one dislikes you. You're actually a pretty cool and reasonable person. Now we know how the relationship is built. Now we're about to see where it goes from here. We go back to 95. Now they're sitting around and they're talking to Joy. They're trying to figure out who put the letter on the door. Now Mallory, she's trying to blame it on Jeanette. But I don't think it's Jeanette. So the mom is saying, hey, this weekend, our annual skeet shooting that we've been doing, you two come because we need to get powerful people within the community to say that Kate isn't a liar and we can trust everything that she says. You need those character statements when you go to court. You see it all the time. That's why you always see people get letters from somebody, or they try to bring in like a judge or a lawyer that they know, someone that's prestige, to go ahead and vouch for you. Now, when they get out there, this is 95. Now, things are starting to change. Mallory is out there, and we know she's kind of a rebel now. And she on that weed, you know what I'm saying? You got to watch out for them kids on the weed. And they're like, hey, Mallory, you gonna shoot? Oh, no, I don't shoot guns. I don't eat meat, none of that. And I'm not gonna get none of that barbecue. I'm vegan now. Joy asks Kate, hey, are you gonna go shoot? Because you used to always shoot. You remember the beginning of the episode, they were getting the guns ready. That was back in the day. Now Kate's like, nah, I don't do none of that. I don't shoot guns. And I'm a vegan now also. And Joy is like, what's changed in you? You've been hanging around this Mallory character a little too much. While they're out there, you see Joy. She's out there. Pull! Bow! I'm talking about she hitting everything. Now, it doesn't look like it's aimed right, but it doesn't matter. This is Joy. She's... Then we get to see Martin and Kate. Now, I keep telling you guys about these interactions. I just don't feel comfortable with him. He's an adult. There's no reason he should be talking to a teenager without a parent present, or if this is not like a trip or something. But she's saying, hey, you'll get used to the gunshots and stuff because he's jumping and stuff. But he has the earplugs in. Here comes the pitching moment. Joy is telling all the people that came, hey, listen, we're going to need you guys to give character statements about Kate. Now, it's not that big of a deal. You're just going to get up there, say Kate is good. You know, you've always trusted her since she was little. She's never lied to you guys about anything. Now, these two, they're concerned and like, wait, we got to take the stand on this. I really don't want to do anything. Like, I'll write a letter, but I don't want to get on the stand. Me, I'm not taking a stand for it unless it's a family member. I'm not taking a stand for nobody. You're not getting me tied up in anything. And when I take the stand for like a family member, it's not snitching on somebody else. It's just talking them up and making them good, because we ain't doing none of that snitching around here. I just got to throw this in. Kate out there, she's determined and she's focused. Pull! Bow! And guess what? Martin talking about, yeah, you're a really good shot. Look at Jamie back there, his hands on his hip. Hey, Martin, don't be talking to my girl like that, man. This is my girl. Back at the house, Kate is sleeping beauty, and she wakes up and she sees Martin, but she's just having a dream, y'all. Flashback. Martin is not there. We know Martin is dead. Later on that day, Kate goes out and she talks to Ash. Now, she needs someone that she can talk to about the family stuff. When she goes outside, she's saying, hey, you know, you got to do the icebreaker. Hey, it looks like Derek likes you. And Ash like, yeah, he spilled soda on my shoes. But we get into the nitty gritty right here, people, the meat and potatoes. She starts to say, hey, I got to talk to you because I accidentally made a false statement about your dad having an affair. And Ash is like, why would you do that? My dad would never do that, and that would ruin his reputation. You got a black man with a white woman. In Texas, if they were to say that this man was cheating on this good white woman, that's the end of her, man. So Ash, she's defending her dad. Like, why would you say something like that? But just like all of us, we all seen it. Ash tells Kate, if anything, it's your mom. Your mom's a gold digger. We all know that. And Kate's trying to defend her mom. Oh, no, she's not. She's a good woman. No, she's not. Because you just seen her cheating with the gardener, the guy that y'all pay. This man probably makes maybe, this is what, the 90s, maybe 40, 50,000 a year. Your dad was in not the military, he was a professional football player. He's paying this man. Your mom's living in it, and he took in another kid. Come on, man. Your mom's a gold digger. Is it? Back in therapy, the therapist is trying to tell Kate, listen, when you have a traumatic experience, what you need to do is try to find a memory to replace that, to try to, overcome the negative stuff about that. But for Kate, I can't. Everything that I experienced was terrible while I was down there. There was never a good moment for me. But the therapist understands this, and she's not being hard on Kate, but you got to talk through this. So she's just taking a step, slowly progressing with her, because now Kate's starting to express what happened, what was going on. She starts talking about how she was in the basement, and one of the worst parts was in the beginning, you seen that she didn't really have a lot of food. She didn't have supplies or anything. So he comes down with a damn grilled cheese sandwich. Ain't nobody want no grilled cheese. I've been locked up. So she's hiding behind the wall. And when he comes down, he's looking for her. She runs upstairs, but he locks the door behind her. So it's like, dang, I done ran up here. He done locked the door. This guy, he done thought all this through. Kate goes into detail about how when she was down there with that damn grilled cheese she didn't want to eat, they actually got into a little tussle. She scratched his face up. He ran up the stairs and he locked the door. I'm talking about, he got a deadbolt on there. He got the little key, the little chain lock on there, locking it. He all cut up on his face. But at this moment, she realized at this point, she was just a lion in a cage, and he was pretty much the zookeeper. Kate's in here playing solitary, and in comes Joy. Now, we all know Joy doesn't want her reputation ruined because she is the most beautiful person with a rich man and a side dude named Scott. She's like, we need to go to the police station right now. They got news on the case. And Kate's like, oh, they may have found Jeanette's fingerprints on that necklace, huh? And Joy saying, the truth shall set you free. Back to the first skeet shooting trip. Kate's going outside. She's just walking around, in this cabin. Let me get some fresh air. And who does she run into? Creepy Principal Martin. He's like, hey, sneaking out. She's like, whoa, wait, yo, what are you doing, creep? Mallory's coming on outside. And guess who's waiting on her? Joy at the bottom of the stairs. She's like, did you send that letter? Did you put that on the door? Mallory's like, why would I send a letter to my best friend? At this point, they're best friends in just a couple of weeks. But Joy is like, if I find out that you did this, you're gonna have to pay for this. You got my daughter eating granola bars, and she don't want to shoot guns no more. She sound like a real Republican. She don't want to eat meat. She's eating granola bars. If I find out you had something to do with this, Mallory, ooh. And Mallory's like, you don't get out my face. Once they get to the police station, they're thinking, oh, we about to get it. We got evidence on Jeanette. We got fingerprints. We got DNA. We got some kind of information to go ahead and lock Jeanette up for everything that she's saying, and we can get rid of this case. But the detective comes in like, oh, yeah, we don't have a case on Jeanette. So pretty much y'all need to get up out of here because whatever y'all talking about, we can't prove any of that. So we can't just go lock her up. Plus, she's a minor. Fingerprint analysis was inconclusive, meaning there wasn't no fingerprints on there. Maybe, this is just a theory. Kate just went and bought another necklace and said it was hers. Or since she was locked up, she was handled and everything, could have wiped off the evidence. Who knows? In 94, we know in 93, Ash and Kate, they weren't seeing eye to eye. They weren't on the sister level. But Kate comes into her room and she sees, hey, what is Ash doing on my laptop? She's like, what are you doing? She's like, oh, my bad. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get close to you. I wasn't a good sister last year. And Kate said, yeah, you wasn't a good sister. You didn't do anything for me. I tried to talk to you and you kept pushing me off. But we know Ash, she's on this computer. And what does Kate do on the computer? She's usually in chat rooms. So Ash is just trying to find something that she can connect with her with. But Kate does say, I was by myself, but I wasn't by myself for long. Kate and Martin, they're outside now. They're looking at the stars. I just don't get it. I just don't get how they let an adult. I'm not gonna harp on that anymore. But they're outside and they're looking at the stars, and this is where their relationship and their bond starts to kind of build. Now they're looking at it, and she starts talking about things. He's talking about things, and then out of nowhere, he offers her a blank. Oh, your code? Take this. I'm like, oh, here we go. On Kate's mind, she's telling Martin, I have, family problems, but we don't talk about our problems outside of our family. Anything we got, we keep in-house, which you should do. And we know what that is. It's her mom messing around on Rod. But Martin says, yeah, I have some trauma too. I really don't want to talk about it, but my dad, he committed suicide. That's why he was so jumpy around the guns, because he doesn't want to be in that environment because it just reminds him of his father killing himself. He also tells her the last time he talked to his dad, there was an argument. So he's just telling her, family battles, make sure you choose wisely on what you're going to say and what you're going to do. Now, before she leaves, he says, well, sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite. Come on, Martin. Back to the room. Ash is saying, our parents, they've been married for over a decade and we haven't really been that close. And Kate saying, I tried, but you didn't want that. Now Ash, she's trying to connect with her and she's like, well, I can listen and you can talk to me. We can talk to each other. But Kate says that's what I got a therapist for. So pretty much I don't need to do anything with you. We get to see a little bit of how Kate was living down there. Now, she's just sleeping on the floor. There was like a little pallet over there, some covers, maybe one pillow, but it's nothing good. She ended up eating that grilled cheese. That stomach got to rumbling. But at this point, Martin is starting to bring down supplies. So there's toilet paper, there's tampons, all the supplies for her to be staying down here, like if there was an apocalypse or something. This guy is a real, he thought this through. It's a real creep. The next morning at the campsite, we out there making breakfast on the grill. I'm talking about real Texas stuff right here. They sitting down, they firing it up. Sausage, eggs, potatoes, everything. Jamie runs up on Kate and said, "Hey, where was you at last night? I was looking for you." She was like, "Oh, I was in the room partying." He said, "No, I came by your window and I knocked on it. And when I looked in there, you weren't in the bed." "Oh, yeah, I walked and got some fresh air." So he's like, what was you doing? Because we were supposed to be hanging out this weekend. What's really going on, Kate? Fast forward to 95, Kate and Mallory, they're walking out to the campfire. And Mallory's like, "Let's not keep any secrets from each other no more." And Kate says, "I'm good with that," because she doesn't have anyone she can connect to or actually talk to outside of her therapist. So Mallory's her best friend now. And Mallory's saying, "Hey, I got to tell you something. Your mom accused me of sending that letter, but just between me and you, I would never do anything like that." After hearing that her mom accused Mallory of sending that, she goes to the campfire and she's like, "I'm gonna tell a scary story." She's had enough of it. Now she tells a story about a girl named Annabelle, and this whole story is really covering everything that's happening. It's about her, her family, and everything. Now she's talking about the parents. They're lying to make it seem like their life and relationship is so good. The mom is having an affair, lying about it. Also fishing for gossip just to stay relevant and seem like she's very, very popular. Now, Joy's hearing the story, and when you're guilty, you hear something like, "Oh, that might be too scary. We probably need to stop this." Joy wants to stop this because if you start speaking about things, it's going to make people wonder. Then she goes into details about Martin. Now, this is still the story of Annabelle, but she says the parents of Annabelle, they trusted some random man. They brought him in. And it turned out this man wasn't that good. Just like Martin. They brought Martin in to go to a little hunting trip, and he wasn't good. And then bad things ended up happening to Annabelle. Now, when she finishes this story, we see Joy. She's over there with her arms crossed like, "I'm not liking this story. This story's a little too, too close to home." But when she finishes the story, she says the same thing Martin told her. "All right, y'all, sleep tight and don't let the bed bugs bite." Ash is trying to figure things out. Now, we know her and Derek, they have a relationship. They come out and they start talking, and she's saying at this point, a Wallis can't really be talking to a Turner because of what's going on. Your sister suing my stepsister. And she asks him, "What do you think about Jeanette?" And of course, he's like, "That's my sister. I believe her, and I don't think that she's lying about anything that happened." So this is making Ash start to think, maybe Jeanette's telling the truth and Kate's lying. But like I said at the beginning of this, we don't know who we can trust. Every week it's like, okay, it might be Kate. Oh, no, it's Jeanette this week. No, it's back to Kate. It's getting tough out here, people. She starts to ask Derek, "How did you get to talk to your sister about this?" And he said for one point in their lifetime, she didn't really respond to him as much when they were younger. So what he did was get like a little puppet, and she would talk to the puppet, not actually Derek. Even though it was his hand, she would talk to that because she felt more comfortable. Pretty much what he's doing is telling Ash, you might need to take a different approach if you want to actually get through her. And he jokes around like, "Hey, you should probably get a puppet. Maybe Kay to talk to you like that." Ash takes the advice, and what does she do? You remember she was on the computer, so she's seen the chat rooms that she's in, and she knows Kate's name. Trauma Rama 79. Now she comes up with her own thing, Bernice 4. "Hey, Trauma 79, you want to take it to a private chat?" And now Ash is actually talking to Kate, but she doesn't know that this is Ash. But she's going to have her open up so she actually knows what's been going on inside of Kate's head. Back in 95, Kate's in the room with Mallory, and she's thinking, "I got all this stuff on my mind. I got to figure out a way to get over this." And like I mentioned earlier, when you're in therapy, they want you to talk about those traumatic events so you can try to relive them and figure out and get past them. So she starts listening to the tapes that she recorded just to try to get the memories and try to get past it. But then while she's talking to the therapist, we hear on the tape, while she was locked up, this is when she met Annabelle. And the therapist says, "Who is Annabelle?" She says, "I can't remember." So the story about Annabelle, I'm assuming that it's her, an out-of-body experience looking at everything that's going on. All right, there you go. Episode 4, Cruel Summer. Oh my goodness. Every week it's another thriller. It's like, okay, it might be this way. Curveball. We got to go back this way to figure out. We got to go back to 93. We got to go to 94. Let me know what y'all think. Who do you think Annabelle is? Is it actually Kate or is it somebody else? Because I'm thinking Annabelle's just what she was thinking of while she was locked up to get through the situation. But let me know what y'all think below. I'm Mo.J. Thanks for watching. That's episode 4, Cruel Summer. Be here next week for episode 5. If you like the content on the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. We on the road to 10,000 subscribers, people. Thank y'all for watching. I'm out.
Jimmy on the beat, boy.